Good day to everyone. Chief Instructor from No Limits Bushcraft and Survival. Grayzy here. How are you all doing today? I'm very well, thank you very much. And today I'm out on a survival run with our new staff instructor, Callum. And there he is in the background. This is the first run we've done together since he's joined with team. And we're going with a slightly different run. I'll let Callum explain a little bit more.
Okay, so what we decided to do was sort of just for a bit of fun, just an overnighter. I don't want to call it a challenge because it's not going to kill either of us. We know what we're doing. But we're basically, what we're doing is we limited ourselves to 10 items. I've chosen to take that to an extreme and not even take a backpack with me. I'm just taking a haversack and a bedroll, and I'm just carrying in the old, sort of the frontier way, or when we went over to America for the first time in the fur trade, so that sort of era of kit carrying. So I'm going for that. Grayzy is going for his normal tactical style loadout, but what we wanted to do was really push it down to 10 items. So each of us, except for the clothes on our backs, we have only got 10 items each, and that's what we're going to go for. We'll talk about 10 items and what we both specifically chose. We'll do a kit by kit next to each other, and we'll show you exactly what we chose to take for this sort of a challenge.
So those who follow us on our social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook, I did put out what I was taking. The only thing I did put out that was Callum's is what he's got in his back now. I don't know what he's got, purely because between we, I want to see what he's carrying that's going to be different from me. So like we mentioned, he's going to show what he's got, and I'll show what I've got, and then we'll then come up with the differential between them, and then we'll do a pros and cons. So let's get a move on, shall we? Callum trailblazing his way through the Lake District.
Okay, so we've got no Northern Limits products with us because we can only take 10 items. That means we don't have the privilege of taking a full fire kit with an emergency fire starter, which means we need to be absolutely sure what we're gathering is mostly going to be from natural resources. So here we have a young birch tree. You can see it's already had a fair bit of hagging done to it, and I don't think it's going to last much longer regardless, even if I didn't take some off it. But what I'm going to do is, for my fire starter, because fat wood is the best wet weather fire starter and emergency fire starter from a natural resource. You might not find it though. You do have to find the right tree in the right state at the right age. So here, good old birch tree. So what I'm going to do is take my cookery out. One of the reasons I like a cookery, I don't have to do all this. Okay, so what I can do is just use my cookery as a draw knife. And all I'm doing simply is, versus going around the tree, I'm just going to come down it instead. It's going to give me a nice cold weather fire starter, which will also allow me to get a fire going initially. And all I'm doing, really simple, stuffing that into my pockets. And from there, I'll pick a different place of the tree. If you are going to do this to a tree, then make sure you don't girdle the tree. Girdling is what you can see somebody's already done here, where they've come all the way around the tree. This can be referred to as crowning as well. This kills the tree. So there's not much more that I'm going to take off this tree because it's going to kill it off, and I know roughly where I am, and I know that there will be other birches in the area, so we'll move on to another tree and we'll go from there. But for now, that's as far as this tree is going to go.
So as Callum mentioned before, we've got no form of fire starter, so we're going to have to use the Dave Canterbury possum method and just collect as we go. Callum's managed to get some birch bark. I'm thinking more I'll go for a coniferous tree to be able to get some more resinous fat, maybe make a feather stick out of it, or I might do a mixture of both, collect some birch bark as well. So what I'm going to do is just take one of this coniferous tree limbs off and then take it with us.
Who made that knife?
You made this knife and give it to us to try it out, and it's my favourite knife now. Take it everywhere with us. So I can actually see here that it's dry and it's actually got quite a lot of resin in it. So that's perfect for me. I'll make a fire stick and you make some shavings. I'll take a ferro rod if I make the kill small enough. So this is going to come with us. I'll have to carry it, but hey, it's one of the things you've got to do. Okay, en route I found something else that'll come useful for us. So this is clearly an evergreen, spruce to be more precise. Scots pine, and the resin within the tree acts as the tree's blood, essentially as if what we have in our body. So if we injure ourselves, we bleed in that site, and then the platelets go to the surface, and then harden and become a scab. Resin pretty much does the same. So this is where the tree's been injured, or it's shed one of its limbs and it's bled. So you've got all this resin just here. Super sticky, quite medicinal, but more importantly, super farmable. I would add this to my shavings, and it tastes and smells delightful if you put in some water. Make a tea out of it. You can also put it on wounds to help heal.
And make glue.
And you can also make glue with it. Well done.
What else can you do with it? Glue. Soap. You make soap out of it as well.
Yeah.
Bit of pine soap.
So this is still quite fresh. You can also make chewing gum out of it. Over.
You can eat it as well. Minty freshness.
Delicious. Okay, so I'm going to take this to burn. So as you can see, Grayzy's kit's on the left and Callum's on the right. He's got his Helicon text haversack for one part of it, and then he's then got his bedroll using his schmag to then cross his body. So that's clearly one of his items that I can clearly see. Then mine, I've got a Black Hawk grab bag. That's actually the one I was in Afghanistan with. As you can see, it's got Meg kit on it. It was me crash bag. And then I've got an unbranded 10 litre shoulder pack, which I've featured in a couple of my videos before. Part of that what I have brought, although I've only got 10 items, safety equipment. I've got my Meg kit on the front of my shoulder pack, but safety kit is safety kit. You don't go anywhere without safety kit, so they are not included. I've got my tripod and another battery pack, but again, that's not part of the challenge, that's just for filming purposes. So 10 items, let's see what the breakdown is.
Okay, so there was some rules to this challenge and we basically followed the TV show alone. So it's summertime in the UK, so obviously thermoregulation isn't going to be a huge issue for this challenge, but you still need your basic kit. So the 10 items that I chose are 10 survival items, or things that I would never go into the woods without. Obviously, Grayzy's already touched on safety kit. As far as safety kit goes, what I've just got a first aid kit and it's within this bedroll. So we'll get into what I'm actually carrying. Let's talk about the bedroll. Bedroll simply is being wrapped around, rolled it up once I've laid it flat within the bivvy bag, and then I've gone round it with bank line. Whole roll of bank line is one of my items. So I've just done a quick hitch, and then all I have to do is unravel that, and then from there I can simply just undo this. And this is the way the Frontiersman also carried their bedrolls, because they didn't have backpacks back then, or they would make a pack frame. I was considering making a pack frame because I've not done one for ages, but in all honesty, I couldn't be bothered. So, and there's nothing wrong with this method because it's not very heavy. I don't require it to be on. I don't require to bear the load on both shoulders. Some people also call this setup a hobo roll. So once I've removed that bank line, just get that out of the way, and then from there, all I simply have to do, when it's time to set up camp, is unroll this. So all I do, I did definitely want it to stay on though, so it's a bit trickier with a shimar because obviously all the little knots and frays at the end, nice to get nice and bunched up with each other. So from there, I just open this up, and talk about sleeping system. So clothing obviously doesn't count, and in here all you can see is my first aid kit. That was one of the Northern Limits hard cases, just in case you are wondering. We do sell them. So item number one is bivy bag. I won't go out without a bivy bag. I'm just not about that life. It's nice, it protects your kit, it keeps you warm, it's a good wind barrier, it's obviously a wet weather barrier. From there, jungle sleeping bag. Okay, so spoken about the bedroll and the clothing that's within it. The other thing that's in this bedroll is my inflatable mat. So that is items 1, 2 and 3. Item number 4 is my shamag. You don't have to use a shamag, you can use a cotton cloth, you can use whichever you personally decide. So that is item number 4. Item number 5 is a Ferrocerium Rod. Yes, I know there's duct tape on it, I won't use the duct tape, but I'm also not going to unroll an entire roll of duct tape for a video. And item number 6, which is my trusty whole spool of bank line. After that, what we have is the cutting tool that I chose. So what I wanted to envisage was that I didn't want to take 2 cutting tools, I just wanted to take the one. So this is a Condor heavy duty cookery. It was given to me recently. I've done a couple of things to it. I've reprofiled the edge. It is a convex saber grind. I've basically just brought the secondary bevel at the end of the saber grind and made it more of a singular blade, because the secondary bevel was a bit of a pain to sharpen. Handle was very, very slippy when I first got it, so just put some sniper tape on that. Then I've given it a blast of spray paint, and then I've blued the blade just to make sure it doesn't. My mil-spec poncho. So this is just the Helicontex one. It's my rain garment. It's also going to be my cover element. This is some salmon. Obviously, food is something we are going to touch in this video, because we're going to make this a bit of a survival pillars video. But yeah, food, we're not allowed to poach, obviously, and nor are we going to poach. Item after that, a titanium canteen bottle. Item after that is my billy cup. These are all the items that I've brought for my 10 item challenge. Right, so let's have a laugh. Let's see what Grayzy's brought instead.
Okay, thank you, Callum. Now, clearly, it's my turn. So, when I was given the challenge by Callum to come out and do this, we were given the Frontiersman theme. Now, as most of you know, that's not my bag. The past is in the past, in my personal opinion, because I always go for the more modern methods, and I use a lot of tactical gear as well, and that's just purely through my choice and through my profession. As most of you know, being a serving soldier, most of my time out in the field is with the British Army, and it's with the kit that we have, so tactical gear is second nature to me. So first of all, the clothing that we're using. For my warm kit, I've got my company hoodie. I've also got a waterproof caramel weather tight. Okay, it's showerproof, it's waterproof, so that's going to be one of my warm kit and my garments for wet weather. So first item is my stainless steel water bottle with a litre of water in it, but my second item is the nesting cup that goes with it for boiling water or cooking food, and then boil in this as well. I've also got a Ferrocerium Rod for another item, which is my combustion device. And in my Black Hawk man bag, or crash bag, whatever you want to call it, I've actually went a little bit different to Callum. I've actually brought the Nestmuck knife that he actually made for us. And it's actually now 9 times out of 10 it's actually my primary knife, just because I love the design so much. It's very versatile, it's robust. I actually done a whole video on it when he gave it to us. I've done a review as well before he joined the team. I brought a folding saw because of the fact that if I've got something larger to cut, I can just use this instead. Yeah, it's just a standard tree blade folding saw. Got a whole hank of paracord. Then I've also got a Dunlop PVC poncho, one-man poncho. So this also acts as my part of my sleeping system, and then it will also act as my downpour gear as well, so I can actually wear it. It's got some paracord attached to it, so I can actually wrap it around, which was a trick that I picked up off Callum, which was also featured in a video that he done when we done the last survival run. And exactly the same too, it's exactly the same too, Callum. I've got my bivvy bag and my jungle sleeping bag as well. It all fits down into my man bag. Another item as well is my schmag. Most of you have probably seen before I wear around my waist, just because it's a versatile bit of kit. It has got 1,000 uses. I make a bit of a joke about it in every video I've done about the fact that I've used it for something else, mainly for Bobby, my dog, to lie on, but it's also my warm kit, it's also a water filter, first aid equipment as well. But again, that's just a very, very small fraction of what it can actually be used for. So as Callum preps what he's doing for his shelter, I've found something that's going to actually be a little bit more easier for me. Something I've always wanted to do is a coffin shelter. And I'm sat on a piece of deadfall here, a big log, and there's actually a log just behind us. And right in the middle behind us, there's a load of ferns. So what I'm thinking about doing is cutting these ferns down, patting them down onto the floor, and then getting more ferns because there's abundance around it, and then using that as my insulation mat. And then this one is lower than the one behind, and then get my poncho over the top of it, because we are expecting rain tonight. It's only meant to be 40% chance of rain between the hours of 0100 and 0400, but again, it may not rain, but you know, I'd rather be dry than wet in my sleep. But again, I shouldn't really complain because I've got my bivvy bag as well. As I mentioned in the video that I've done the other week, it is the Bushcraft bush tie, and I can ratchet it as tight as I want. However, I can get them off, and what I do with the leftover bits after I've cut it, I then can also put it off to one side to then reuse for more arbor in the future. Ratchet that down.
I managed to do it last week, but I also didn't realise I also made a frame last week, which is different. So I basically did my entire tarp over a rigid frame with a cross section. Bit of stupidity going on from me. So as you can see, I fitted my tarp to the shelter. This is what I'll sleep underneath. All I need to do now is peg it out. I'm just really, because of how lightweight this tarp is, I don't need to go super wild with pegging it out, nor do I want to make it so difficult that I can't remove it if I need it, because obviously by doing this I no longer have a rain garment, so if it starts raining and me and Sean have to move off in the middle of the night, then I'm going to get a little bit wet. So this is very quick detachable. It's just literally on quick hitches. I just pull it and it comes free. So what you can see I'm going to do now is just pull it across, and from there this will cover me in the night.
There's Grizzy's shelter for the night. What I've done is I've put my tarp across it, and then I've then put slats, and then I've then covered in the ferns just to give it a bit of a shingle effect, just to try and keep waterproof it a bit more, and then use that for insulation.
One of my methods, which I managed to do last time, like I said, I'd forgotten that I'd actually put the tarp up last time on a full frame with a cross beam going across it to hold it rigid, and then just leaned it on these bipods. So what I did instead this time was to make more of an A-frame tent design. So I've just knocked 2 tripods up. The easiest way to do these tripods like this is when you're making the tripod, 2 of the sticks need to be the same size and 1 stick needs to be fairly longer, because that's the one that when they both stand equally, that one is going to be the one that comes out and holds the pressure. And then simply lashed I've lashed the tripods together, then I've just lashed the ridge pole together, and then versus doing an A-frame where the shelter would come over both sides, all I've done is just done it onto one side, tied off the centre of the poncho. I could have done it a bit more, but didn't have time. So yeah, tied off the centre of the poncho, and all I've done at the back is literally peg it in with sticks. One of the beauties about these ponchos from Helicon, they're so lightweight, you don't need to be that scared of having to make full-blown tent stakes and hammer them into the ground.
Salmon fillets. Nom nom nom.
Cooked on a stick.
Right, so it's bedtime. And my snug pack jungle bag and my bivy bag. You can see I'm got a firm bed for my mattress. And I'm quite comfy. See you all in the morning.